I'm not afraid of any threats from a housewife with no job, no parents like you.
That's right. You can't do anything with bulky trash because it's just trash. Well, I understand how you feel now. I'm moving out of this house.
Then you're homeless now. Good luck, homeless lady.
This is a good opportunity for Frank to get out of the house.
Sure, let's get it together. Take out the trash and clean out.
And the two of them went to Frank's room and told him to pack up his stuff and leave. Originally, I was going to leave, but I never thought that even Frank would be kicked out together. My name is Amber, 27 years old housewife. I recently got married to a man named Tom. My husband is 30 years old, 3 years older than me. At first, I thought he was mature and relaxed like an old man. And since he often talked about his mother, I thought he was a good man who cared about his family. But it wasn't until we got married that I discovered my husband's true personality. When we greet each other on our wedding day, my mother-in-law was very kind to me. I thought we would have a very happy marriage. When we got married, my husband asked me to live with my mother-in-law. My father-in-law passed away a few years ago. He said he wanted to be close to his mother. I thought my mother-in-law was trustworthy, so I agreed to live with her. But as soon as we got married, both my mother-in-law and my husband changed.
Hey, Amber, hurry up and bring me tea. And hurry up and clean the bathroom and toilet. My mother-in-law would shout at me and give me orders like that. It is because she wants to scare me as much as possible, or is it because of the age? She would call me in a loud voice and make me do all sorts of chores. And the thing that surprised me the most was the existence of my roommate, whom I had never been told about. When I woke up the other day, I was surprised to find a man I didn't know in the kitchen. I froze, wondering who he was, when he noticed me and said, "I'm Frank, Tom's younger brother." He introduced himself. I had never been told that I had a brother, let alone a roommate, so I was surprised. Frank is now 27 years old, the same age as me. I went to my mother-in-law and asked her to introduce me to my brother-in-law. "Oh, you mean Frank? Don't worry about him. He's just a reclusive ghost." I was surprised. How could she not care about her own son? "Your son is a ghost?" "I'm happy with only Tom. Frank is just a useless hermit. He only goes out for shopping and stays at home the rest of the time." I was shocked by what she said. I feel so disappointed in my mother-in-law, and also feel unbelievable that she changed as soon as we got married. It's a shame that she discriminates against her own sons. I am an only child and have no siblings, so I had nothing to compare myself to. I would be shocked if my own mother said such a thing to me, or being ignored by her. My parents are already dead. I envy them for being alive and together, so I hope that at least parents and children can get along. I asked my husband about Frank when he got home from work. I thought maybe brothers could get along, but my husband's response was also cold. "Leave him alone. Just pretend he doesn't exist. It won't do you any harm anyway." He just said it in a dismissive way. It was as if he just forgot to mention it, and I was disillusioned. Calling his own brother heir was a horrible thing to say. My husband had no family memories or anything. He was just a mother's boy. I finished my chores for the day and went upstairs feeling regret about this marriage. Then I bumped into Frank, who was just going to the bathroom. "You married my brother, didn't you?" That's what Frank said to me. "Yeah. What's wrong?" "I'm sorry. It's nothing. But I won't say anything bad. You'd better get out of here." "What?" "I'm sorry, but you should get a divorce." I was a little offended and confused. I was surprised at the way my husband and my mother-in-law changed. I married my husband because I love him. It's unbelievable that he would ask me to end our marriage after just one day. "It's none of your business. I can handle it. I'm a competitive person. I'm sorry about that," said Frank. "I'm also sorry for my outburst," he said, bowing his head. I thought what an insane person he was until a while ago. I thought I might have understood why my mother-in-law and I felt a little bit uncomfortable with the regulations. But he apologized so politely that I'm not so sure about the denial. Maybe he was really just trying to be nice and say those things to me as a warning. As I was thinking about that, Frank said, "Excuse me," and went into his room. My mother-in-law and husband say my brother-in-law is a reclusive weirdo, but they talk about him like he's a recluse. To me, he's a very decent person. I guess he's the type of person in society who can be treated with proper courtesy. The next day, when I was putting breakfast on the table, Frank came down and wanted to get a drink. I said, "Good morning, Frank. Why don't you join us for breakfast?" "Good morning, Amber. Thank you for asking." Saying that, Frank glanced at his mother. "Amber, I'm not going to eat breakfast with that thing. Just get the breakfast done," she yelled at me. "I'll be fine then." Saying that, Frank quickly went to his room. I wanted to apologize for my strong clamor yesterday, but I couldn't make it. "Hey, all you have to do is the housework. Don't do anything unnecessary, okay?" My mother-in-law gave me a fierce glare. I was stunned that this was the tone she used with the relatives. No matter how much I liked the bride to be, I didn't expect this kind of attitude. And my husband's attitude toward me changed drastically. "What the heck? Today's menu is curry? You should have told me before lunch. I had curry for lunch too." Was that my fault? Then why didn't he call me and tell me he had curry for lunch and wanted something else? Then I kept my mouth shut. He continued to yell at me. "Hey, you're not apologizing. Who do you think you are? You're here to do these house things. Make sure you understand that." All right. I was shocked and kept being silent. Tom didn't love me. He just wanted a housekeeper. It's terrible. How could he do such a terrible thing with such a calm voice? They didn't care about me. They just wanted to make themselves comfortable. They are using me. Seeing them giggling and laughing watching TV in the living room, I walked upstairs. As soon as I got upstairs, I burst into tears. Then a hand gently offered me a handkerchief. "I still think you should leave." There was only one person who could say that. I looked up and there was Frank. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I wiped my tears in a hurry. "I'm sorry. I used your handkerchief." "No, I gave it to you because I wanted you to use it." I heard what my brother and mother said. I knew it. They're the worst. When my brother-in-law said that, I asked him what he meant, but I knew it. My brother-in-law said that he had been in a similar situation in the past, I asked him about the details and found that my husband had promised to marry a woman before, but because my mother-in-law and my husband treated her the same way they treat me now, she ran away right before they were married. When I heard that story, I feel relieved. In other words, that kind of husband and mother-in-law before marriage was a lie to prevent the bride from running away. I feel hopeless. How could I have trusted this asshole? But I had nowhere else to go if my husband let me now. I'm just a housewife. My husband and mother-in-law would never allow me to get a part-time job. I can't even move out of this house and rent another one. I didn't know what to do. All I could do was cry. Then Frank said, "If we keep talking here, you will be looking suspicious." He said, "Let's talk in the coffee shop next time if you like." He handed me a piece of paper with a line ID on it. I nodded and went into the bedroom. I'm going to get out of this house, I was thinking. My survival has just begun. I'm going to go to the city office for some matters and stop by the supermarket on my way home, I told my mother-in-law and left the house. I would not forgive you if you leave any chores, she said. When she found out that I had made sure everything was perfect in advance, she was mumbling that she wouldn't accept it if I was late for dinner. I pretended to agree and went to the coffee shop where Frank and I were supposed to meet, and I told him that my parents were gone and I couldn't rely on them anymore, and that I've cancelled the house I was renting and quit my job. I told him that I would need to start all over from scratch. It's hard to move out of the house in that situation, isn't it? The biggest obstacle is the work. It's like being tied up with your mother and husband from early in the morning until late at night. Frank then asked me a question while pondering. Amber, can you draw? Huh? I mean, what did you mean? Oh, I see. So, can you? Yes. Well, I went to art school before. Really? That's great. Yes, but how? Just in time. I know the manga artist who's looking for an assistant. You can do it remotely. But I don't have a computer right now. I'll lend you my computer, which I'm not using now. Really? Thank you so much. But why do you have an extra computer? What do you do for a living? That's very kind of you to ask. You don't think I'm just a recluse person, do you? No. You use polite words a lot. And you are so neat and groomed. So I don't think so at all. You work from home, don't you? Yes, actually, I'm an engineer. An engineer? I used to work for a company, but now I run my own company. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't realize you were a business owner. Yes, it's easier for me to run my own company since I'm taking orders on my own. We also have web designers as employees. We only have a few employees, so everything is done remotely. I think I'm convinced that that's why you're home all the time. But your mother and Tom said you're just home doing nothing. You haven't told them the truth? I don't see the benefits in telling those two. True, but if you're such a good manager, why don't you just get out of that house? It's because I first learned of Frank's thoughts here. That's not talking about me. I have to introduce you to the manga artist. Saying that, Frank immediately made a phone call. And soon, a remote interview was set up. I was to have an interview with the manga artist. On Wednesday, my mother-in-law usually had lessons. After the lesson,
She will go out with other participants. I could do the remote interview at that time. I seemed to have made a good impression at the interview. I was hired immediately. But considering my situation, they told me that they will mail the documents of the hiring process with an envelope addressing to Frank. So I'm good to go as far as the job is concerned. Next, we need to find a room. I have a friend who works for a real estate agency, and he can give you a good deal. That's what Frank told me. Who is this guy? He's got all kinds of resources. And so our search for a new place to stay went well. We were able to sign a contract for a place that seemed to meet my requirements. And just when everything was starting to be on track, I had a fight with my husband one day. "Hey, where's the dinner?" My husband woke me up when I was sleeping in the bedroom. He was a little drunk, as if he had just come home from drinking. "Dinner? It's midnight. Besides, you said you didn't want to eat because you were going out for drinks." "Shut up! The king is coming home and you won't even get up to greet him. Now you say you don't cook dinner. You're a bad wife. Such useless." Those words made me angry. "What? Do you have any idea how hard I've been working with your mother for you? How can you be so superior to me?" "That's because you're my wife. A wife should support her husband, and your job is to take care of the house. If you can't do your chores, don't stand against me. A wife who can't do the housework is just like a piece of trash." As my husband said this, I heard the door open. My mother-in-law laughed in a uncomfortable way. "You're just like a piece of trash. Frank is also a piece of trash, and this place looks like a dump." My husband sniggered when my mother-in-law said that. "Yes, that's right. I'll have to take out our oversized trash." "What did you just say?" When I asked him, he opened the drawer and said, "This is what I mean." It was a divorce paper. "You're no good to me anymore. I'm going to find another wife who can take your place. That's why I'm divorcing you. Get the hell out of my house." "You're disgusting. You think of your wife as nothing more than a slave. That's what a person wants to marry to. The best kind of wife is the one who takes the place of housekeeper." "Don't you worry about saying things like that. I hope you regret of what you just said one day." "What are you trying to say?" "I'm not afraid of any threats from a housewife with no job, no parents like you." My husband laughed and my mother-in-law laughed too. "That's so true. You can't do anything about it because it's just garbage." "Well, I understand how you feel now. I'm going to move out of this house." I said that and signed the divorce papers. Then I left. I put the divorce papers in my bag and started to pack my stuff. My mother-in-law and husband are watching me with a grin on their faces. "Now you're homeless. What on earth are you gonna do now?" "Well, it's none of our business anymore. Good luck with that, homeless lady." "Oh, and Frank, this would be the good time for him to get out of here." "Yeah, let's take out of the trash and clean the place out. After we get rid of him, we will tear down this wall, remolded it and connect to mine. It would be a lot bigger and more comfortable." My husband and mother-in-law are already talking about what they'll do after we're kicked out. Then they went to Frank's room and told him to pack up his belongings and leave. I was going to leave at the first place, but I never thought that even Frank would be kicked out with me. I kind of regretting that I let my emotions get the better on me and had a fight with my husband. "I'm sorry, Frank.
It's my fault. No, don't worry about it. I've already realized that I can no longer live with those people. Besides, I got something else I'm interested in. Maybe I was lucky to have that fight. Frank smiled saying that, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Anyway, I'm glad he doesn't seem to be bothered by the leaving. And 2 days later, on Wednesday, when my mother-in-law was out of town, Frank and I called a moving company and moved out. You finished moving? I wonder she didn't want to see our faces. My mother-in-law called to my new place. Don't worry, we all have already left. Frank came out with you, didn't he? Yes, we came out together. I'm glad I don't have to see you guys anymore. My mother-in-law hung up the phone after saying that happily. But what will happen after this is what she doesn't know the most, which is Frank and I are thinking of a revenge. I was just moved into our rented house in time and managed to move my belongings and start a new life. Thanks to Frank, I was able to get alimony from my husband in the divorce. In fact, Frank told me that when my husband and I had a fight, he heard what my husband and my mother-in-law said. He secretly recorded their comments. And since the statements in it definitely fall under the category of marital and family status harassment, it was recognized that the divorce was due to the husband and the mother-in-law. I was able to claim for alimony. This is my first revenge on my husband. Frank's friend, a lawyer, billed my husband for the alimony on my behalf, so my husband was completely stunned and accepted the payment. Frank, who even has a lawyer friend, who are you? I was really grateful for his help, so I decided not to mention it anymore. A few days later, in a sudden, I got phone calls from my ex-mother-in-law, a lot of them. It's like a demon keep knocking your door. I thought I'd forgotten to block the calls, with no choice but to pick up the phone. Amber, where are you? There's no way I'll tell you that. I'm a complete stranger now. Please don't say that. I'm calling because... where is Frank? Huh, why are you asking about Frank? I'm looking for him, but I can't reach him anymore. That's too bad. Maybe he doesn't like you anymore. When I provoked her, the speaker changed. Don't be silly, you guys moved out together. You at least know where he is. A bunch of jerks. I do know where he is, but I'm not going to tell them. I'm afraid I don't know. Search on your own. Where the hell are you anyway? You don't have a home. You don't have a job. You don't have a place to live. If you're willing to get down on your knees, I'll let you back. But even then, you'd have to be my housekeeper. Who's going back to you? I have a job and a place to live. I'm afraid there's no reason for me to get back to you. That's a lie. My ex-husband was surprised because he seemed not to know that I could have found everything in such a short period of time. Well, I don't want to correct him. Anyway, please don't call me again. If you call me again or showing in front of me, I'll call the police immediately. Hey, wait a minute. I said that and hung up the phone. Then I blocked my mother-in-law's number. I've already blocked my ex-husband's number. The reason why they were so panicked to call me was because they just realized the fact. They had misunderstood that my father-in-law left them a tons of money, but it was Frank who had been transferring enough money to his mother's account every month. However, my mother-in-law thought Frank was recluse and unemployed. It's unbelievable that they thought my father-in-law's inheritance was divided by the bank. When Frank was asked to leave the house, Frank stopped transferring the money. That's why there's no transfer at the time when it is time. They must have finally realized who had put in the money. But it was already too late. Frank had already cut himself off from his mother and brother. My ex-husband has no money to pay my alimony, and my ex-mother-in-law was living on the money that was transferred to her every month. If the money stops coming in, she's going to be in a lot of trouble. Well, they both got what they deserved, so I don't feel sorry for them. By the way, Frank bought a luxury flat in Tokyo and is living there comfortably. Why is he such a rich man? Why did he transfer the money to the parents' house and live there all these years? It's because he made a promise to his father. Unlike his mother, Frank's father loved Frank. So even though his mother and brother were cold to him, he was able to endure everything. And my father-in-law told Frank, "You may not like your mother and brother, but they are also important family members for me. So after I pass away, please take care of them too." In order to fulfill his promise to his father, even though he's been bullied so much, he's been sneaking money to support his mother and brother. The two of them who kicked out such a kind-hearted Frank by swearing without knowing anything are really the worst. I met Frank once after we moved out. He said that he had made a promise to his father. I agree with him and hope he can move on. I was feeling hopeless after being deceived by a jerk, but gladly I was saved by Frank. I believe he is an important person in my life, and I wish for his happiness. 1 year later, he asked me if I could marry him. He proposed to me, but that's another story. It's horrible that a kind person just changed so dramatically after getting married. That's a marriage scam, isn't it? I'm glad my brother-in-law is a very reliable person, and I'm married to my brother-in-law. Anyway, the winner overcame the obstacles. I'm relieved that it seems that happiness is now in my hands. Please let me keep having these fun and happy days. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you like. See you in the next video. So I just prepared the dinner for the family members. Wives are not included after all. Okay, fine. My heart is screaming with joy. I glanced over my husband and father-in-law, and they both nodded in agreement. That's it. Now's the time to get it out. It's okay. I'll eat what I prepared. Wait a minute. I was searching something in my bag. Here it is. Mother, I found this. What's in my hand is an envelope. My name is Molly. I married my husband Kevin when I was 25. 3 years later, our son was born. We had a happy life together as a family. I got back to work after the birth of our child. We are trying hard to raise our child. One of the biggest problems in my life is my mother-in-law. Well, I guess she's so-called bride bully. My husband is always careful about her, but when we were just married, it was very difficult to deal with. My husband is the middle of 3 siblings. He is the only one married. The other 2 are still enjoying their single life. My mother-in-law has always been the spotlight of the family. She called herself Madonna of the family. It's all male, and you know how difficult to deal with them. So I'm the Madonna of this family. Well, I guess she really thinks she is. And then I showed up as the only daughter-in-law. My father-in-law and other siblings care about me a lot, so I was recognized as an imaginary enemy. I can't believe Kevin is getting married. He used to say he was going to marry me.
What are you talking about?
It's true, Kevin. You shouldn't forget the taste of our family meals even though you're getting married. You should have meals at our home.
No need. Molly is a good cook, and we both have jobs. We'll take care of our house together.
No way. She makes you do the housework?
Don't talk like that. We decide what's best for us. I want not a word from you, Mom. My husband is kind of the person who speaks out whenever he sees something. He's been on my side 100% for sure, which I really appreciate. But my husband doesn't read much into things, and he's not very good at noticing the situation. So my mother-in-law tried to do something that is difficult to notice. For example, the meals. When we go back to my husband's parents' house, my mother-in-law serves meals. On the surface, this seems like a pretty normal scene that you'd seen anywhere. But my mother-in-law never lets me in the kitchen. Even when I offer to help, she tells me not to do anything. And the food on the table all looks the same. But it's because I'm not allowed to help. I don't know what's inside. I once had a soup with a lot of small fish bones in it. I didn't know that, and I drank it in one gulp, and it was killing me. Another time was a steak with bitter garlic mixed in, and it was deadly bitter. Molly, are you alright? I think I have a stomach ache. Are you okay?
Oh, you don't like my food, do you?
She said she's not feeling well. Stop it.
Maybe she's just pretending to be sick?
I don't think so. Hey, stop. Don't do that to an ill person. It's impossible, isn't it?
Fine, you're all on her side.
We don't mean that.
I made dinner for you all, and what's wrong?
Don't worry, I'll eat it all.
No!
You scared me. What's wrong? Why are you shouting?
It's just... I can't let you eat something that's been cold.
Don't worry about it.
I say stop.
Without hearing my mother-in-law stop him, he picked up the plate of meat and potatoes in front of me. What the hell? Oh! My husband threw out the food. What is this? Vinegar? It tastes so different from mine.
It happened before.
What?
I was served by a soup with many little fish bones.
Mom, what's going on?
I didn't do anything. You must have misunderstood.
Of course not. This meat and potato is terrible. Dad, try some. When my husband tried to give the meat and potatoes to my father-in-law, my mother-in-law took it from him.
If it's that bad, you don't have to eat it anymore.
No, that's not what I meant. I'm asking why Molly's food is so bad.
I don't have any idea. I think she did it to sum it up.
Enough. It's unbelievable. You never let Molly in the kitchen. Besides, seeing you taking the plate like that, I think you have something. Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, I'm done. I'm never cooking a meal again.
In the end, my mother-in-law neither admitted nor apologized for the situation, and my husband took this an opportunity to quit visiting his family unless we had to. And the rest of the day was pretty peaceful until I witnessed an unbelievable scene of my mother-in-law somewhere. One day, I was out of the town for a business trip. On my way back to the hotel after a meeting, I saw my mother-in-law, and next to her was a man in his 20s, and they were walking while holding hands. What? No way! I was freezed. I'm sure I don't know that guy, so I followed them. They then entered a cafe and sat down on a seat by the window. They were not sitting in front of each other, but next to each other. I didn't hesitate to start filming, and then their faces got closed. Whoa, I'm not going to watch this. They left the cafe after about half an hour and disappeared to an hotel. The next day, I went home, waited for the kids to go to bed. I turned to my husband. Hey, you know what? You don't want to see your parents doing something shameful, do you? I was thinking to tell depending on my husband's response. I decided to delete the videos and pictures I saw yesterday if he doesn't want to know. I don't care. You're okay to see something shameful doing by your own parents? Then I could learn something from it. I see. What's wrong? Something wrong with your parents? But it was your parents. Oh my god, was it my mom? Yeah, I guess so. What did she do to you? No, nothing to me. I told my husband everything that what happened yesterday. Oh, seriously? I took the videos and pictures. Let me see. I handed him my phone. Oh my god, that's disgusting. I can't watch my mom doing that. How old does she think she is? He wasn't shocked at all. You're not shocked? No. Not at all. I mean, it's not her first time. What? It happened a long ago. She used to cheat on Dad because he was traveling a lot. Well, she claimed it. But my brother was still in middle school. Dad forgave her and rebuilt the relationship. Oh, I see. Well, I guess they won't rebuild it anymore. I'll have an agency look into it. Can I use the money on it? Of course, it's worth it. Thank you. I'll let you know how it goes. It took us a month to find an agency and get the results. My husband was stunned when he saw the report. Then, let's take the report to Mom. What? That's necessary. Why don't you just give it to your father and let him decide? That won't make us feel better. Molly, Mom did something bad to you, didn't she? Let's give her revenge. That's the only way I feel better. I should do something for my dearest wife, shouldn't I? Oh, Kevin. To tell the truth, I wanted to see my mother-in-law lose her mind in front of me. I wanted to get back at her everything she's done to me. Good job, Kevin. I'll tell my dad about this before we go. I don't want to confront him with the truth out of the blue. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So we left our son at my parents' house for the weekend and headed to my husband's parents' house. When we arrived, my mother-in-law scolded me as usual. But I didn't care, because what she does to me, as long as I know, is going to end today. The time to confront her with the evidence should be at dinner. But my mother-in-law launched an unexpected attack at the first place. My husband, my father-in-law, and I were all a little taken back. Let's start the meal. My mother-in-law was smiling, but the three of us, including me, were frozen. Where's Molly's food? She doesn't like my food, so no food for her. I just prepared a meal for the family members. Wives are not included after all. Okay, fine. My heart is screaming with joy I glanced over at my husband and father-in-law, and they both nodded in agreement. That's it. Now the time to get it out. It's okay. I will eat what I prepared. Wait a minute. I was searching something in my bag. Here it is. Mother, I found this. What's in my hand is an envelope. Well, I can't eat this. Oh yes, this was a present for Mother. I totally forgot about it. I took out the envelope to my mother-in-law. Oh, you could be smart sometime. My mother-in-law accepted it happily, despite such a hateful comment. And the moment she saw the contents of the envelope, her hand stopped, and then her body started shaking. What's the matter? It's nothing. Is it nothing? What did she give you? Nothing special. Come on, let's eat. My mother-in-law used her chopsticks to get the rice, but she was whooping, so the rice spilled out of the bowl one after another. Mom, tell us. My husband took the envelope from the mother-in-law. Give it back to me. Mother-in-law is desperate. My husband took the report from the envelope. What's this? Looks like an old woman is buying a young man for a date. You should check the other side. And the back too? That's interesting. On the back offer, I put pictures of my mother-in-law and some young men being together. At first, I thought my mother-in-law was having an affair with one young man, but the agency said they discovered that she had relationships with various young men. You really don't learn, do you? I can't believe all my hard work was turning to a place like this. I think you know the next. I'm divorcing you. Wait a minute. This isn't cheating. It's just for fun. You're not wasting Dad's money on something like that. It's disgusting. And these guys are even younger than us. Oh my God. By the way, including Dan and Jason, we all know about this now. We're cutting you off. I'm cutting you off too. Don't worry. All you have to do is accept it. I know you don't have enough money to pay me alimony. In exchange, never show up in front of us. Wait a minute. It's not just a casual date. I was just thinking of seeing different worlds. Right, Molly? You go out to eat with another man sometime? No, not at all. I don't spend money on men who aren't my family. It's such a waste. I would have spent it on Kevin or Little John. Don't you do this to me. You are also a woman, don't you? Yeah, I am. But what's your point? I'm saying it's never enough to be only a wife or a mother, isn't it? That's disgusting. Then why don't you stay single? I bet you would cheat sometime. Don't you insult Molly. She's not like you. We all know. Well, it's a good opportunity for me to tell you something. I was planning to divorcing you when I retired. It's a good timing. Huh? I forgave you when I found out about your affair a long time ago. You did not learn from it, but kept doing the same thing. I knew it. Actually, on the days you were out, the dinner would be frozen food. You didn't think I would know it, did you? It's all your fault. You were not with me. That's what you do. You blame everyone else. It's a miracle my sons turn out to be good people with this kind of mother. Yeah, that's because we three looked you as a negative example. I think you're the reason Dan and Jason are still single. If you have a spouse like this, You're seriously screwed your life. Hey, oh sorry, my bad. This person was Dad's spouse once. This is a good start. Now get out of my house. I'm not giving you any of my retired money.
Wait a minute. I'm supposed to have half of them, ain't I?
Because it's even by the alimony. Alimony could only be claimed from 3 years ago. Even though I can only claim it from 3 years ago when you were cheating me, it's going to be plenty of money. My mother-in-law paused and thought about it, and then turning pale. She looked dizzy and confused.
Where is she going?
She must have gone back to her parents' house. After that, my mother-in-law never came back to this house, and they got divorced. My mother-in-law was left penniless. She went back to her parents' house, but now that the money is gone, she seemed to cut off from the young people and was living at home for a while. But my husband's grandparents, instead of allowing her to come back, they had her work full-time, and now she works at a supermarket near her parents' house. My father-in-law is a very generous man. My mother-in-law was a fool to betray him. Now that my mother-in-law is gone, the family is in perfect harmony. My brother-in-law Dan and Jason, who never came home before, started to show up often. Recently, they've been talking about getting married. I feel happy for them. Everyone has a big smile on their face. And now I'm pregnant with my second child. I'm going to continue to put my family first in my life. It's upset to have a mother-in-law like that. It seems that the people have affairs lose their minds so often. My father-in-law could finally enjoy his late life now. I hope he can live peacefully from now on. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you like. See you in the next video.